Okay, so I'm with Alice Hewson today, who plays on the Ladies European Tour and the Symetra Tour, I believe. Is that right, Alice?
Yes, that's right.
So where are you at the moment?
I am currently back in London. I'm over here to try and get my visa sorted out before headed back to sunny States, which will be good.
Do
Decent
you
stuff there.
do you get a special type of visa for being a tour player, or is it just a normal working visa, or how does that work?
Yep, it's a specific pro athlete visa. Actually got approved nearly a year ago, but with the pandemic, all of the embassies have been closed, which curveballs, but fingers crossed going to get that sorted this week and we'll be off and back to America.
And whereabouts it? Because obviously you went to Clemson University, which is in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Is that where you're based when you go back to the States?
Either there, or I'm actually really lucky. My grandma has a condo in Florida, so I spend a amount of time there, and it's right next to Sawgrass, which is always good fun.
Fantastic. So do you get to play Sawgrass as often as you like?
I do, yeah. We have some well-connected friends, which is always helpful.
Absolutely. It's not about what you know, huh?
Oh,
So let's talk very briefly. I'm going to skip right back to your early days. You played your first tournament on your 7th birthday. Happy birthday. How was that? So what event was it, and how did you get on?
I believe it was a YMG event. So Young Masters Golf, that's kind of how I got into golf to begin with. They did really, really great group lessons for juniors. And the coach at my local course said, hey, I think you should enter this. So I went, rocked up. It's my 7th birthday. I completely missed my first ever shot. So it does get better from there, which is great news. And what was actually really funny was I was the only girl in my age group at this tournament. So I was terrible at golf. And I turned out to win this regional event and ended up going to a national final against people who could actually play golf. Me at 7 years old, but it was a great experience.
Yeah, I'm sure. And how did you get on at the national event?
Oh, terribly. I probably came last.
But that's probably quite a humbling experience at 7 years old, and sets you up maybe for your future. But you had a remarkable amateur career going through. I think when you were 15, you played in the European Women's Under-18s team. Is that right?
I first started in 16s teams. We went up to Scotland for a few years. I was able to win there on my second attempt. And then I was 16. I went into the full under-18 squad. And I think 16 or 17 when I went into the ladies squad.
Wow. I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it? I guess that sort of pressure set you up for the future when you're playing. But before we get to that, because that's a really exciting story, I think, from the start of 2020, you went to Clemson University, as I mentioned. You went there from 2015 to 2019.
Yeah.
Why Clemson? I mean, it's not renowned, I don't think, as one of the big golf universities, is it?
No. By the time I went over, I think that I was only the 3rd year ever of the program. So it was a complete new program, which I just viewed as such a great opportunity. The process of trying to find where I wanted to go was a long one. It started about 2 years before I went over. We kind of narrowed it down to about 7 schools that I wanted to go and visit that were on the East Coast. Right. And Clemson was the first one. I just fell in love with the campus. It's so beautiful. It's about as northwest as you can get in South Carolina.
Right.
So we're surrounded by lakes, but also the mountains. And the whole campus has lakes all over it. So it's the prettiest campus. We have facilities on site, full driving range, 3 different greens, TrackMan bays,
wow.
Everything you can, and gorgeous mountain courses right around the corner too. So for me, it was just the whole package. It wasn't too big. It wasn't near a city. I really don't like cities. So that was perfect for what I was looking for. Just completely fell in love with it.
So was the mindset around, and I guess it's very easy to, if you go to one of the renowned golf universities and what have you, you get sort of lost in the ether of everybody else, right? Yeah. So was there a lot of more one-on-one tuition than you would have expected at one of the other universities? Did they give you a free rein? I mean, you're such a good golfer. Did you sort of control how the process went?
Oh, yeah, definitely completely in control of where I wanted to go. I was really lucky. I had over 30 universities contact me 2 years before going. So it's kind of down to me and my family to whittle out the ones that we didn't want. I knew I didn't want to go to a really big school. Some of them, like the University of Florida, have close to 60,000 people. And that's just too many for me.
That's a city in its own right, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it was kind of about trying to get the whole package for going to university. It wasn't just about the golf, it was about the academics, the support that we had in the academics, having the facilities close by, because America's a really, really big country. And when they say that their facilities right down the road, that could easily be 20 minutes plus traffic.
I remember being in Florida last year for the PGA show, and I was staying at a hotel, and I went to the reception and I said, I want to find a steak restaurant, can you recommend? And they went, oh yeah, it's just down the block. 2 kilometers later, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
But everything's just huge, right? Everything is just far apart.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Super. So you graduated Clemson in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know immediately you were turning pro?
I knew that I wanted to be pro, and I had done for several years, but I actually made the decision to stay amateur for that summer after I graduated. I'd gone to Q school, didn't get very good status, so knew that I was wanting to go back again in the August. So just kind of took that summer to round out my amateur career, and it worked out perfectly. I won the year, got to play my first major, and it was just the perfect ending to a pretty successful amateur career.
I'd say hugely. I think you're being modest, but so that leads nicely on to the Investec South African Women's Open. What happened there?
Oh, first event on the LET. I don't know, came back with a trophy. No, it was a really, really great week. Like a real fairy tale start to my professional career. Couldn't have asked for a better experience, and it all worked out so perfectly. So we were actually in Abu Dhabi the week before, and we were meant to be kind of pro-am style event over there, and there was a breakout of COVID on one of the islands that the course was located on. So they cancelled the event like literally the day before we were meant to start playing.
Right.
But we were really lucky. They allowed us to stay in the hotels, still use all the facilities for the remainder of the week. So I was just in a really nice, relaxed environment with a bunch of the other girls who were going to be headed to South Africa with me. And I think that was such a good opportunity to kind of get to know them, where, I haven't known them in the past. They're all a little bit older than me or from other countries. So just having that week to get to know everybody and feel comfortable with who I was traveling with, I think made such a big difference before headed to South
Africa. That makes so much sense. So then you get to Westlake Golf Club.
Mm-hmm.
You play in the event, absolutely smash it. I mean, I have to say, we were watching it, and do you know what I mean? You're right. It was an absolute fairy tale start. But when you're walking the last 9 holes, so at the time you were 22, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, I only know that because I've got in my notes that you're 23, and it was last year, so I just deducted one and went with it. So when you're coming down, and maybe not even the last 9 holes, let's say as you're coming to the green on the 18th, what's going through your mind?
I had a lot of things. I went into the final round 3-5 shots behind leaders, so kind of wasn't expecting to come out with the win, that's for sure. And just wanted to go out and post a good round. Just played really solidly. Came around to, I think it was the 15th green. I'm lining my putt up, and all of a sudden see a leaderboard and my name's at the top of it. I'm literally shaking. I hit this 15-foot putt, a good 5 foot past the hole. Because, I've never been in that situation before. Right. But I kind of had to remind myself that no one expects the rookie to go out and win, let alone win the first event. Yeah. So just really tried to stick to my processes. And I definitely had to do that coming down the last hole. Yeah. I hit my drive straight in the trees. I hit my chip shot out too well, so it got under the trees right in front of me, but continued to rise, and so hit the next lot of trees. So I'm still in the trees and about 70 yards away.
Were you having flashbacks to the national finals when you were 7?
No, luckily not. But I had no idea what the other girls were doing. The 16th hole was a birdieable par 5, and the 17th hole was a straightforward par 3. So I'd kind of assumed that the other girls were just going to have made some birdies in or something. Just kind of made my up and down. It turns out that my putt on the last was to beat the 2 girls who I was playing with, and these are the 2 girls second, which I had no idea. But just really kind of wanted to stay in my own zone and focus on what I was doing. And luckily, I think not knowing what actually was going on, I feel too much pressure over my putt, and right in the middle of the hole it went.
Oh, well, you know, just serious congratulations from us. I'm sure you're still hearing that all the time now, because it is a remarkable story. But then obviously COVID kicked in a big way, and that sort of disrupted the season incredibly. So the Roses came up with some events, which actually, on reflection now, when you take yourself back 8, 9, 10 months, were such a blessing, just to keep the momentum going. So how did you get on throughout the series?
They were a lifesaver to have the opportunity to compete for, I think it was like 8 weeks in a row. It was just amazing, because otherwise we were going to be dropped straight back into the season at the Scottish and British Opens, and that's a pretty tough start. But I played relatively solid throughout the events. I got off to a good start in the first one. I think I came tied 4th. I had to miss the second one because I was playing a different event. And, you know, just kind of kept going each week, covering my costs, which is always good.
Yeah.
But we were so lucky to play some incredible courses throughout each of those one-day events. So it was just nice to be back out playing and, you know, identifying what in my game needed to be worked on, what needed to be sharpened up, ready for competitive golf again. Finish that series on a high.
Well, let's talk about that, shall we? So the Rose Lady Series Grand Final, you score 67 in the first round and 70 in the second to leave you 5 under, and the champion. How does that feel?
Yeah, it was incredible. I actually knew Northants really quite well. They host the Hampshire Rose, which is a pretty prestigious 36-hole amateur girls event, and I'd won that before too. So I'd played at Northants several times. I'd played well there several times. So I took a lot of confidence kind of going into that day, and it was so windy. I think I was the only person to shoot under par as well that day. So, you know, to play well on a difficult course in difficult conditions definitely gave me a lot of confidence.
Does that suit your game? Sorry, do difficult conditions typically suit your game?
Yeah, I think it does, because I really try to just kind of stick to my processes, and kind of not really worry too much about what other people are doing. You know, certain holes where there might be a reachable par 5 or a drivable par 4. Yeah, I really kind of plan what I want to do during my practice rounds, and if other people start doing something different, I try not to pay attention to what they're doing and just stick to what I'm planning to do, and it normally works out okay.
And do you have to tell yourself that? Do you have to say, Alice, refocus, Alice, regret, or is it just an organic, natural thing now?
It's kind of a mix of, I'm pretty good at staying in, but there are times, especially in high pressure situations, or if someone's gone for a shot and pulled it off, where I kind of go, oh, maybe I should consider doing. But 9 times out of 10, it's just better for me to stick with what I was planning to do.
It's such a good lesson for your general club golfer, amateur golfer to do that. Have a game plan, stick to it. Don't, you know, the temptation for all of us is, you know, you see someone stripe a 3-wood, you know, on a par 5 for their second shot, and you think, oh, do you know, actually, I'm going to change. I was going to take a hybrid layup and get on, but if he can do it, I can do it. You know, I think it's such a valuable lesson for all golfers of all levels.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's go back. So that on the last day you were talking about Northampton, it was really windy. You shot under par.
That was a great start. And then the second day we went And I played with Charlie Hull, and she lit it up that day. I think she was like 5 under 3-9. I was just kind of like, oh, wow, she's playing really well. But it felt really great to kind of hold my own against her. You know, she's a Solheim Cup player. She's proved that she's been successful on tour for years and years. So to kind of matched up against her for 2 rounds is pretty exciting. And I took a lot of confidence from that. And then we went to Wentworth for the final day. And we only managed to play 7.5 holes.
Because of the tyres?
Yeah, because of the luckily I had extended my lead through those 7.5 holes. But yeah, managed to get the crown.
Fantastic. I mean, what a first season. I bet when you sit back and reflect, I bet it's hard to imagine that that's how your first season was going to turn out.
Oh yeah, I never expected, you know, to get my first win, for 3/4 of the season to be blown out the water through a pandemic. Never expected any of it, but I still had some really, really great experiences through it all, and I'm happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, well done you, and we're, you know, we're big fans of yours, so you know we're behind you. So let's talk about then that sort of organically leads on to 2021, and I think it would be remiss of us to not give props to the LET and the senior management at the LET. What they've achieved for this season coming up, starting in May, is nothing short of incredible. Although it's delayed, you know, we were talking before, and I think we both agree that the delay is worth it when you see the package that they've put together.
Absolutely. This that we have coming up this year is so exciting. We've got a jam-packed season. Literally, I think once we start, full on until November.
I think you've got 27 events in 19 countries, and between that, you've got the Solheim Cup and the Olympics, and obviously Aramco now involved in that as well. That's a coup. That's a real coup for me. I mean, those events are huge.
Yeah, they're going to, now that they're in 4 different countries as well. Like the LET is going to New York, and that's really, really exciting.
Yeah. And will that be great exposure for you girls to the LPGA fans? Is that what you would hope to get from that?
I think so. Kind of play somewhere a bit different. You know, the grass is completely different over there. I've played in New York. We played a Curtis Cup up there. So I feel like I've had the experience of playing in that area, which I think will help me. But I know that the New York area is very, very supportive of women's golf. So that should be good.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I think the season as a whole, I think they got 19 million euros in prize funds, over 200 hours of TV coverage. I mean, it can only be great. And, you know, like I say, massive props to the LET guys. So let's talk about the start of the season. I believe for the start of the season, you have Mr. Steve Rutter on the bag. He's a CFG member and a big fan of yours. I know that. Can I just give you one bit of advice? Just friend. He gets really shy about this, but he insists that everyone calls him Rutter, not Russ, but Rutter.
Okay, I will 100% commit to only ever calling him Rutter.
But yeah, please do, because he just feels awkward if you call it. He will say to you, just call me Russ or whatever, but he's trying to make your life easy, but yeah, he hates it really. It's just okay. So good luck this season. We're fully behind you. You know that, and you know we'll be watching you and posting and adding lots of content. So let's talk about you in general now, because that's what people really want to know. They want to know about Alice the person, not just the golfer. So explain to me a normal off-season day. What would your day entail? What would you get up to? What would you do?
Well, obviously this year has been very different than a normal year. So I've been really lucky that I've been in the States for the most of this off season, which has been great. I've been able to get on the course, been able to practice and use the gym. Currently stuck in isolation at home here, so it more includes doing some online Peloton gym classes. We're lucky that we've got a Peloton bike here, and I have a beautiful net set up in my garden. So that's what off season at the moment is normally like. But yeah,
so non-golf related. Come on, what tickles Alice's fancy non-golf related? Is there a particular sort of box set you like, or a particular type of restaurant? Let's get to know you.
I'm a anatomy.
Oh, right.
I have watched the season, like the whole 16 seasons, several times through. And, you know, I've got my sister and my mum hooked on it now too, which is all fun. That's probably my go-to movie. When I'm at home, it has to be Nando's.
Oh, absolutely. Not Wagamama's.
Pardon?
What about Wagamama's?
I like Wagamama, but Nando's is definitely the choice.
Okay, so you all heard that right. So if ever you want to buy Alice dinner, Nando's, you can't go wrong. Okay, so when we've talked about like the LET tour and you coming through in college and what have you, what's your, this is maybe a little bit more formal again, so we're going to jump between, but women's golf and where it is today. We're big advocates on CFG, you know, of supporting the ladies' game. But how do we, in your view, and I'm sure none of us know the answers, because if we did, it'd be sorted, right? But how do we encourage young girls to get into the game of golf? How do we get them from this perception that I think most young girls who have never played the game think it's a male-dominated sport, it's for rich people, it's for, you know, for all the reasons that you and I as golfers know just aren't true. You know, golf could be as cheap as you want it to be. How would you go about that? What would your thoughts be on how we encourage young girls to come into golf?
I think the way that to golf, through my parents, through my dad's side of the family, and through junior coaching, like group sessions, I think is so the way to go. YMG, so it stands for Young Masters Golf, was a complete program where we learned about everything. If it was raining, then we would go inside and we would do fun rules thing. And I'll always remember this one question that we got, and it was about like, what is a movable obstruction? And the answers had a complete range of things, but one of the answers was a dead gorilla, which for a 7 and 8 year old was hilarious, but was the correct answer because it was the only thing out of the list that was dead, and therefore you could move it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so I think having like really inclusive and fun programs and games that includes young girls, young boys, any young people into the game of golf is going to help growth massively. Yeah. I say making it fun, making the rules fun, having bowling games on the putting green where you try to knock balls off of tee pegs. Yeah. Just kind of new and innovative ways to make golf a little bit more fun and achievable to people who might not be able to get a little ball on a tiny hole.
Yeah, and I think creating the short form, I know lots of people have tried this golf sixes thing and they sort of tried it and then just left it. But it's, for me, it's the perfect concept for certainly like young teenagers, you know, finish school on a Wednesday, 6 holes at 6 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? It's just enough golf for them to stay interested. But also I think local authorities have a big role to play in this. You know, it troubles me. We see all the time that local authorities are closing municipal courses because they're not. They say they're not funding themselves. Well, that, in my view, is just they're mismanaged. It's not that golf isn't required and really great for young people. It's that the club's being mismanaged. Change the.
Yeah, and I think people don't quite understand how much time, energy, money it takes to kind of upkeep a golf course. So, you know, people don't want to go and play on courses with bad greens or the boring or anything like that, especially not when you're first getting into it. Like, there's no point being on something that's like putting through rough. So I think, you know, if those courses were kept up a lot better as well, then that would help. But I think places like Topgolf, brilliant. Really,
I'm the biggest fan of Topgolf. I can't tell you. So I think for the last 5 birthdays for my oldest son, we've been to Topgolf. So.
I love it too.
Yeah, but you know, I think people like you as well, and this isn't being sycophantic, it's just being realistic. I think you're a very normal human being who's excelled at what you've done. You've worked very hard for it. You know, we can't take that away from you, but I think you could be an inspiration for young female golfers, and you know, I hope a lot of them get to see this video. And if you had one message for them, what would it be?
To just enjoy it. At the day, golf is a game. I know we can all get really, really caught up in how well we do at it, but golf's a game and we're meant to have fun with it. So stick with it and enjoy it.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, great message. So let's talk quickly. What's in your bag this season?
All made, or mainly tailor-made. So I have just got my hands on the new Sim 2, dry, freewood and hybrids. And the new bag is coming hopefully at some point this week.
Right.
The tailor-made P770 irons, which I love. Got into those, I think, the second half of last year.
Right. How do you feel about changing your irons or any club halfway through the season? Does it make you nervous?
I've always played, so it's never really been too big of an issue for me. I was in the P790s before, so it really wasn't too big of a change.
Right.
And it was kind of, I say halfway through last season, it was kind of through that really big off period that we had for the pandemic. We'd kind of started the season, but, you know, it was like another second mini off season.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I've got Titleist Vokey wedges.
Okay.
And an Odyssey putter that is like 8 years old.
Do you know, I love the Odyssey putters, and it's really interesting. I quite like the fact, certainly on the PGA Tour, where they list the putters that people are using. And a couple of years ago, Odyssey might have about a third. And I looked a few weeks ago, and it was like they had 3/4 of the players on the PGA Tour using Odyssey putters.
Yeah, they're really, really.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about sponsors and endorsements and things like that, because I think you guys as professionals should use platforms like this as every opportunity to A, recognize your sponsors, but actually B, say to people, actually, do you know what, I'm a commodity, I can help sell your product. Come and talk to me. You know, I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
You know, let's help each other out here, because, you know, the reality is, if somebody tried, let's say somebody tried to get 5 minutes of advertising on TV. Well, when they've done the creative, when they filmed the ad, when they've placed it, when they've had an agency involved, the costs go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
You girls, with all due respect, are walking billboards. Certainly if you're at the top of the billboard. Yeah, quite. So you have space on your arms, on your heads, you know, wherever. But, you know, businesses need to be utilizing this. So let's talk about your current sponsors. Who is looking after you at the moment?
So I have one really lovely sponsor, RSM. They're a global accounting firm. And I'm really, really excited to work with them for this year. They've already helped me out a huge amount, but I'm looking forward to representing them.
Yeah, good for them.
2 potential sponsors that are in the works. I'm kind of just waiting for some paperwork on those, but that's hopefully going to be exciting as well. And then I've got my global management company, Wasserman, who have been amazing throughout this entire lockdown process. I mean, I couldn't do half the stuff that I do without them there to help me. They just open up the amount of time that I have to get on and actually play golf.
Brilliant.
You know, they've been helping me out with my paperwork to come into the UK. And to get all my tests sorted, stuff like that. So they
massive props to them. Massive props. Yeah, well done them.
But yeah,
I think sometimes non-professional golfers, when we talk about tour players, and when they have winnings and they give 10% to their management and 10% to their agent and this, that, and the other, and people don't really understand the value of that. But the value is incredible, right?
Oh, absolutely. In looking at the schedule that I have, trying to balance the LET and the Symetra tour, like, it'll give you a headache just trying to look at it and trying to plan flights. It's going to be impossible for me to ever book a round trip flight this year.
Yeah.
Which is, but so to have someone or to have a group of people who have the experience in dealing with professional golfers before and helping, you know, manage a schedule, help set up a caddy, help set up literally anything, and, you know, most importantly, help set up the sponsors, which will help to fund, you know, me living my dream. I mean, I really, really couldn't do what I do without them. They've been incredible.
Oh, that's so good to hear, and it's not nice that they get recognised as well, because quite too often they don't. That they're in the background. Yeah. So fair play to you. So we'll wrap this up. Just to let everyone know, Alice is on Clubface Golf. Type in Alice Hewson at the top in the search bar. Follow her. You post some lovely content. Is your cat in the States?
He is. An awful lot.
And you call him your son?
He is my son. Yeah, he lives with my boyfriend up in Clemson at the moment. but I really, really look forward to going back and seeing him soon, hopefully.
I'm sure you do. So guys, make sure you're following Alice. Make sure you comment on her posts. Things are changing massively for CFG. The platform's going to be totally redesigned and relaunched, as most people know. And you know, we look forward to getting behind you this season, Alice. You know, we really are big fans. We can only see big things for you this season. So don't forget us when you're you know, off there doing your magic. Don't forget us, humble guys in the background.
I definitely won't.
Alice, thank you so much for your time today. Anyone, post comments if you want to let us know what you think of the interview. If you've got any questions for Alice, we'll pass them on. Sponsors, if you want to get in contact with Alice, you can come through us. We'll pass on your details to Alice or her management company. But really get behind them. You know, these girls do great things.
Got loads of space available.
maybe we should be talking about that too. So
yeah.
Keep this space open, because we will be having those conversations. So Alice, good luck with the season. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Really enjoyed.
My pleasure. And good luck with your test tomorrow.
Thank you.